Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with Innovate Finance, our podcast series where we speak to leaders across industry to talk about financial innovation and fintech. I'm Rolf Merchant, part of the team at Innovate Finance, and today I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Adam Holden, who is CEO of Northrow. Adam, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Rolf. Nice to speak to you again. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the podcast again, Adam. I think we spoke to you was last September or so when you were relatively new to the job at Northrow, and since then, I think it's fair to say a fair amount has happened in the world. So I wanted to actually start with that very point. What would you say were the highlights for Northrow and for yourself and for industry in the last few months since you've been CEO?
Yeah, well, you're right. It's been a roller coaster, right? There's a lot has happened even since the last time we spoke in September. I mean, when we spoke at Northrow, we were in the middle of sort of the revolution, if you like, of the platform. We'd taken a view that we really wanted to focus our building of our solution focused on helping compliance teams do their job rather than just to sort of provide them with great technology for technology's sake. And since we last spoke, I'm delighted to say we launched in April what we've called Workstation, which is essentially the fruit of the work that the team has been doing a fantastic job on for the last 12 months. So very, very pleased about that. We grew again last year, which is great. We posted some really good results. And we're now just working through 2022, doing more of the same. I think that, if the sort of the recent events have taught us anything, it's that there is right across the sort of the financial services and even wider industry, people need and want to incorporate technology solutions to help them do their jobs better. We're in the middle of, obviously, since you and I last spoke, we've had obviously the terrible situation in Ukraine happen, a real sort of strong focus on making sure that sanctions that are being applied are adopted well and can be identified. There's a enormous cost of living crisis. The wider environment is changing enormously around us, and fintech has got a fantastic role to play, as well as regtech, in supporting the economies through these challenging times.
Yeah, and I wanted to pick up on that very point about challenging times, because obviously it's difficult for consumers, but it's difficult for businesses as well. And thinking about your clients, your customers, there's a lot for them to juggle, isn't there? I mean, you've got to protect consumers, obviously, deliver compliance to meet the demands of regulators, and those are pretty stringent, obviously. There's all the internal systems to deal with. And then, of course, there's commercial necessity that wraps all of that together, of actually reducing customer churn and avoiding abandonment. So it's a lot to juggle. How do you go about managing that, do you think? What would you say to your customers and clients?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there is an enormous amount for them to think about. I think that, for those businesses that face off to consumers, I think consumers are demonstrating changing behaviors. We've come out of the pandemic. People have adopted different lifestyles. They're working from home. They've got to juggle different kinds of lives. They're more discerning with respect to security and fraud. Their patience is probably lowered, so they're slightly more flighty. So our clients, many businesses have to make sure that they're doing a fantastic job from a customer experience perspective. And so industries like fintech and regtech solutions have to face up to that challenge. They have to support their clients in doing the job that they need to do, so delivering financial services or maintaining compliance, but do it from a customer-centric perspective. And we've definitely noticed that those of our clients and our prospective clients are very, very focused on solutions that not only do their job, but actually focus on a very, very good customer experience. Talking of the sort of doing the job bit, we definitely are noticing that, again, that sort of slightly reduced patience and an urgency to just have a really good solution that delivers what it says. It does what it says on the tin, basically, and does it every time and quickly. So our clients and our prospective clients have been much more discerning themselves about the technology providers that they speak to. And actually, in many ways, that's an advantage advantage because you get to decisions much more quickly, and quite rightly so. Nobody wants to be hanging around in a tender process for too long. But actually, those people that can provide a customer-centric, very capable solution that does exactly what it needs to do and supports that business, ultimately does well. I think that the cost challenge that you referred to there is one that is very, very live at the moment. We're all, as consumers, noticing a huge cost of living crisis, and businesses are having to adapt and adopt different cost profiles. So hopefully technology can help firms be more efficient, as well as providing a good customer experience. So I'm very passionate about pointing out to the wider industry how good technology can be in satisfying all of those challenges, really supporting the industries out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to have you and Northrow and your peers sort of making that case, because it's really important. And I think what you described sounds absolutely fantastic. And as a fintech industry body, we're bound to say that financial technology has got a huge role to play to help financial institutions manage all of that. And yet, at the same time, we do hear that plenty of businesses are slow on the uptake here. They're not adopting these kind of solutions very speedily. Why do you think that is? What are the barriers? What are the blockers?
Yeah, as you say, I mean, you and I have spoken about this before, and I'm very supportive of Innovate Finance's, approach to bringing us all together as an industry to try to increase this adoption, because I also am hugely passionate about it. I think the inertia against it has multiple factors. Within companies that are required to be compliant with regulations, for example, many of them, if not all of them, are already compliant in one way or the other, and so you've got a process that works. They're obviously, these firms will have good relationships with regulators, and so the move to change that process to adopt technology and bring it into the infrastructure, I think is a difficult decision to make. Certainly from the people that are responsible, they have, very personal responsibility to make sure that their organizations are compliant. So we've got to get it right. And I think that the sort of the challenges that they face are, can the solution do the job as well as we're doing it today? Will it really provide cost benefits to me? Will it break my customer interactions? Will it support my sales team in bringing revenue to my organization as quickly as they claim them to be able to do? And so it's our job as an industry to really identify those inertial points and target them, and help the organization understand that, listen, technology can provide all these benefits to you. We're not here to sell you something that doesn't work or sell it for its own sake. It's there to solve a problem for you. And I think the adoption challenge can be really helped by us all working together on some of the generic sort of benefits of using technology, but then also equally target specific use cases in particular industries or particular compliance areas, such as AML or reg reporting or competition or so and so, to really sort of drive that point forward. The final thing I would say as well is, in many conversations that I've had where we are coming together as an industry, we don't see as many current users of financial technology or regulatory technology espousing the benefits from the perspective of the user. And I think that would be a really good thing to do to break some of these inertial challenges down as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And as you say, I would say those are all fair challenges from potential customers. So being able to make that case cogently and fluently is really important. And the more people you have singing off the same hymn sheet, the better. So very much agree with you there, Adam. I'd like to pan out a little bit, actually, for the next question and ask you about the fintech industry more broadly. So obviously we're about to enter, or I suppose depending on who you listen to, we might already be in a period of severely depressed economic growth. How do you see the current economic climate affecting the world of fintech?
I think that there's a balance of opportunities and threats. I think there, on the on the threat side, I mean, if I think about my own or our own experience, coming out of the pandemic, there was a scramble for organizations to grow. And as a result, there was a sort of a real search for increased resources around R&D teams. And I think that really drove the market into a frenzy from that perspective. So I think, those organizations, those smaller organizations in the worlds of fintech or regtech, who need to continuously innovate, I think found it very hard to get hold of resources at good prices. And of course, these organizations have to balance their books. They've got budgets to achieve, and actually, therefore, trying to maintain the R&D momentum in the face of spiraling wages has been a challenge. And it's not just development resources, right? So you've got, on the commercial side of things as well, there's buoyancy in the market there. So staff retention, I think, it is also a challenge for financial technology organizations. We've seen it, we've seen in the news, organizations like Curve and Klarna, unfortunately looking at their resource bases and realizing that they're probably, they probably need to rethink things a little bit. So resources has been it will be a real challenge, I think, for fintech. That being said, fintech organizations and financial services organizations in general, in looking to manage their resources better, that could be a very good source of opportunity for technology firms that can bring about benefits to these organizations more effectively and efficiently. So I think those organizations that can really work with their prospective clients to demonstrate the business case for greater efficiency and other benefits using technology, I think could really help these clients in the face of these economic challenges. So there's sort of there are threats as well as opportunities, but I think no doubt those fintech organizations that can innovate quickly and innovate cleverly in a very focused way, really looking at the true source of pain for their prospective clients and really understanding what the issues are there, could probably provide a really great service in helping people overcome the challenges that are impacting everyone as a result of this current economic climate.
Yeah, I really like that, Adam. And I think what you're saying about fintech delivering a productivity boost to businesses is really important as well, because I think I don't profess to be an economist or an expert on these matters, but I think most would agree that that's going to be the sustainable and long-term route out of an economic slump, is having some productivity boosts for businesses and being able to deliver more output more quickly. So that's going to be a huge boost, and I certainly hope we can see fintech bring some of that to bear. So moving on, and this will sadly have to be our last question, but I actually asked you this when we spoke back in September, and I'd be interested to see if your views have changed at all. So Adam, what do you think the future holds for fintech and regtech? And I'll define future as the next couple of years. Maybe anything further out than that might be slightly hard to predict and a bit unfair. But maybe 2 to 5 years, should we say? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that what's going back to what I said before, I think what's really, really important for fintech and regtech is we need to maintain and build on the momentum that we have gained and delivered on in this country, in the UK. We're in a fantastic situation with respect to the levels of innovation, the levels of the levels of startup, the support we've got from the regulator and the industry in general. I think we need to maintain that and focus really hard on innovation, because I think innovation and delivery of products that really make a difference is the only way that these kind of organizations can survive. If we do not innovate, then I think that within that 2 to 5 year horizon, we'll see a lot of organizations just, through a process of natural selection, probably cease to exist. The investment environment is no differently affected than anywhere else. Investors are looking for good and strong and solid, dependable returns. So those solutions that are strong and fit will survive. I think that we need to do more to maybe spread the wings of the UK fintech industry and satisfy more problems further afield than maybe just a traditional, nearshore UK, Europe, US, and Northern Asia markets. There are billions of people that could really benefit from the sort of the UK's fintech knowledge. And so I think within 2 to 5 years, I would like to see those really strong innovative organizations survive, and also the UK be seen even more so as a sort of a global center for fintech and regtech innovation.
Lovely, Adam. I really admire that ambition, and I think it's shared by a lot of your peers, fellow CEOs, fellow founders, to push UK fintech into a genuinely global success story. And that's a lovely message, and I think a good place to stop. Adam, thanks ever so much. Really interesting insights there. I think sort of getting your take on kind of what's happening in fintech right now and what you at Northrow are thinking on and looking to push forward has been really interesting and really insightful. So thanks so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. I really enjoy it. I always enjoy talking to you, Rolf. So thank you very much for the time.
Oh, that's a great pleasure, Adam, and thank you again. Well, that is about it for this episode. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please do keep an eye out for upcoming episodes. We do have many more conversations with fintech players planned, and we have all our previous episodes available to listen to on our website, the previous 2 seasons. We're in season 3 now, actually. So please do take a look at our back catalogue for many more insights on fintech and financial innovation. So my thanks once again to our guest today, Adam Holden, CEO of Northrow. Thank you at home for listening, and do join us next time for Coffee with Innovate Finance. Bye for now.